God, it's like a horrible story. I don't think I've ever told this story.
Let's go.
Don't make this the clip.
Exclusive. You were hit by a train? Is that true?
That is accurate, yeah. I haven't taken a shower.
And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
This is therapy. I didn't know.
We're already rolling.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, we're actually live.
Oh my God. What?
This is being streamed.
You're supposed to tell me.
No, this is being streamed everywhere across America and in a few states, including Japan, Nagasaki.
Have you thought about starting
totally
a
joking.
Pornhub channel just to see if people stumble across it?
You know, I have thought of that.
I was going to actually recommend that to you, and I forgot.
A what?
Jokingly, have you thought about starting a Pornhub channel and just putting your podcast on it?
Dude, that would be actually cool. I want to do an OnlyFans. Bro,
That'd be
you know
dope.
what's funny, actually? I have a funny story about OnlyFans, right? So one day on Instagram, you can, like, put your link up there, and then you can name it whatever you want to name it. And so I put, like, my YouTube link to, like, one of my vlogs up there. And it was, like, during the summertime, and, like, me and Sky were out in the car. And we both had, like, shorts on and stuff, and she had her legs on top of mine. So, like, I took, like, a shot of just, like, the bare legs, and then I put a YouTube video in there, and then I changed the link to onlyfans.com. The video blew up, bro.
Well, the
Blew
real
up, bro. Like, it literally had, like, 100 views in, like, a couple hours. Like, I was like, dang, we should start an OnlyFans.
the reel that you posted, that was me talking about the landlords jerking us around.
Yeah.
On the screenshot, it says they
jerking.
jerk, and like people are clicking on that like a son of a bitch. Like,
I did that on purpose. I ain't gonna lie. I did do that on purpose. Yeah. It's entertaining. It's entertaining, bro. I remember one same thing with one of my reels. I put something. My cousin said something, and like the auto caption got it wrong, and it said he said I don't condone, but it thought he said I don't condom.
okay.
And so I just left it, and that was what it said, and that one blew up. And he messaged me. I was like, "Yo, why is this blowing up?" Like,
Are you supposed to introduce this guy?
yeah, I guess we should probably get into that.
Let's do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we should get into that, I guess. She's telling me that your mic needs to be come down just a little bit.
They want to see your pretty
Yeah,
face.
There you go. That should be perfect right there. Anyways, guys, welcome in, guys. Welcome in. We are back with another episode of Everybody Hates Jabber. We hope you guys enjoyed that little beginning intro there, a little different. We don't always start off that way, but, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. But anyway, guys, we are back for another banger episode, guys. We have a Tulsa legend here, guys. A Tulsa kind of mythical creature, it seems like, you know what I mean, type of thing. Evan Hughes.
What's
if
up?
you know, man. We appreciate you sitting down and on the pod with us today, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah,
I
man. It's
appreciate
so
the
dope,
intro.
man. Yeah, man.
And having me.
Yeah, bro, no doubt, man. When Shaun recommended you,
Oh, I love Shaun.
so it's like I wanted, like I said, told you guys in the last episode, kind of want to incorporate a few more like co-hosting episodes this week. So I figured it'd be a great, you know, episode to do a co-host with Shaun. You know, he knows you a little bit, so hopefully it'll make you feel a little bit more comfortable. You know, hoping get you to open up and, you know, give us all the juicy stuff.
Oh, I'm super comfortable in the store.
Okay,
The
dope.
shoes.
Yeah,
The shirts.
Yeah. Do you rock the vintage and stuff?
Oh, I
I
love
see you
to.
got like
yeah.
an Oklahoma wrestling shirt on. Is that
Yeah,
like a good
this
little-
is vintage.
Yeah.
The jeans, I've had them long enough for them to become vintage.
There you go.
The shoes, these are like those mid tops.
Yeah. Those
You
are
know.
actually kind of nice, man. I used to have my Converse Chuck Taylor days.
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of had that Chuck Taylor phase,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean?
And then you come back to it.
Yeah.
You know, for a while you're like, oh, I'm done with that, but you're never really done.
I haven't came back yet. Maybe one of these days, you
You
know.
will.
I
You'll be
probably
back.
will. Yeah, I probably will. Anyways, man, I just want to go ahead, jump right into the pod, man. As most of the people that are probably watching this pod that know you, they know you from comedy, man. So, like, what was it about comedy that just instantly made you fall in love? What was it that made you think, like, this is for me?
Man, I think I always love comedy, as you guys probably always love comedy too.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like to laugh and all
Exactly.
that? And, I can't tell the story of how I got into it because I've done so many podcasts that my mom is my mom listens to everything that I do.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm tired of that story. You can't tell that story. You can talk about other stuff, but
Yeah.
I can't tell how I got into comedy
Can you
anymore.
make up a story about how you got into comedy?
I could say that, you know, Bill Burr hired me, and something I was a big fan of ice cream sandwiches, and I used to deliver him ice cream sandwiches.
I love Bill Burr though. So
You do?
Yeah.
I got to see him at the BOK Center.
Me too.
You were there?
Way back. Way.
Oh,
back,
no, I was
like
there
bad
the
seats,
day
but-
the Queen died. He was on
Yeah.
stage at BOK.
Yeah, I was there. I mean, way back, like
Okay.
poor people seats.
Oh, you're a. Oh, I thought you were like, I'm an old
Back
school
row.
fan. I was there like when
No.
BOK Center
No,
came out.
recent, but
Oh,
back
okay.
row.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a fake story.
There we go. Whole conversation on a fake story. So did you take like any comedy classes whenever you started and stuff
I
like that?
did. I did.
Yeah.
My friend Roy Johnson used to teach one at the Looney Bin.
Yeah.
So I took that, and then I'd sit in on it from time to time for like later classes, and he would often throw me a guest spot on the graduation show that would happen at the club.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I thought that I got a lot of good from that class.
Well, like, how do you think that class like helped you prepare like for the actual stage, or do you feel like the class actually helped you prepare? Because I know a lot of times like classroom settings don't always prepare you for the actual field, but do you feel like that classroom setting helped you, or
100%, because Roy was
100%,
such
yeah.
a tough teacher, and he didn't give a fuck about you.
yeah,
You know, so he would just be like, "You're not funny. This is bullshit. That was
Yeah.
so fucking whack. You look like you're scared to be up there."
Yeah.
You know, like he would decimate you
just like a drill sergeant, but
in front of
comedy.
everybody too. Like everybody was
Damn.
there. You know, so you'd want to quit, but then you'd be like, "Nah, I can't quit."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it was good. It was good because you got to get prepared for a whole crowd hating you all at once.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like, have you had any times where like the crowd has hated you, or like you got booed off stage?
I've I was like, I've never been booed off stage, and I was like, have I? Yeah, kind of. There was like 2 different incidents I could think of
Yeah.
where I like fucked up super bad
Yeah.
and got in trouble with the crowd, and it
Ooh.
basically like ended the set.
Really?
Yeah.
What was? Can you give us some examples, or what happened those?
Oh my god, yeah. Well, there was a show at a spot called Utopia. Shaun probably knows.
Yeah.
And now it was called Juice Maker Lounge, and now it's closed, I
Yeah.
believe. But that show was like you basically had to do crowd work and roast people
Yeah.
to be able to get over with that crowd.
Right.
And they made like if you won the show, you won $50.
Yeah.
So to win, you just had to talk shit about people. So that's what I started doing. And I just picked the wrong guy, and I guess he had just got out of prison.
Oh no.
And he was in a gang.
No.
Oh, my God.
And he was just like, "Bro, nobody calls me a punk." And I was just like, I
you
thought
called him
I
a
was
punk?
this guy. I called him a punk, and I just
Oh.
thought it was like a funny word, like "you're a punk," you know. And he was like, "It's not a funny word." And he
No,
got
yeah.
up, and like it stopped the whole show. Like everyone knew as soon as he stood up and started coming towards the stage, or like it's over. He's gonna
was
fuck him
over.
up. Yeah. So people got between us, and then someone actually broke a window. Like
Yeah.
one of the windows there are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like really expensive, big, thick glass.
Right.
So the $50, and what's crazy is I thought for sure I had that $50 before
Yeah,
that
he's
moment.
like, yeah.
Like all I had to do was not call him a punk and just end it. And then I was like, "What's gonna happen with the $50?" Like I still thought I might win.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, it's gonna go towards the window."
Oh
my
man,
God.
bro.
Yeah.
That's dirt.
That's not your fault.
Fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's right.
No, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, I guess if you know, then you know. But like, if you don't know, not to call someone from prison, you know, like
Yeah.
a bitch or a punk, then like, you just don't know. Like, everybody gets called a punk. You know what I mean? But like, those dudes from prison, though, that's a different word,
Bro,
bro.
I had to find a new barber because I called the guy next to my barber is a Puerto Rican dude, and we were kind of talking smack or whatever, and I called him a clown.
Yeah.
That's a total no-no, I
Really?
guess. Yeah, bad. Almost got in a fight like halfway through a haircut. Like, jeez, we're cool now. We like talked about it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I just like that's something I picked up in Air Force basic training. The
Yeah.
TIs would call everyone clowns.
Oh, you went to the Air Force?
Yeah.
Damn,
Well, Air
really?
Force Reserves. Yeah, when I was
How-
like 22 or something.
Really?
Like
What was that like?
like basic training, honestly, probably the most structure I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I was a weirdo. I was sad when I graduated basic training.
Yeah.
3 great meals a day. I'm
Yeah.
a really fast eater anyway, so it's
Yeah.
cool. I loved it. Tech school, not gonna lie, like got bullied real bad. I was like super tiny back then.
Yeah.
I went in at like 122 pounds.
Right.
When I was in Biloxi, Mississippi, got bullied real bad, hated it.
Yeah.
When I went to Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls,
Uh-huh.
started working out a lot, put on like 30
Bro,
pounds.
got jacked?
I got a little jacked, yeah. A little
Okay,
bit.
let's
Like went
go.
from 122 to like 155 and in like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then when I went to my station, at the time the Air Force was broke, and
Yeah.
we were supposed to do this like on the job training for several months. And they're like, "Sorry, we don't have the money for that. Like, you get a 3-week course, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
So I spent like 5 years not knowing what the hell I was doing, and it was awful.
Right.
And so I got out. And
Yeah.
I did my time, 6 years,
There you go.
whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You ever think about going to the?
No.
Man.
I'm pretty soft.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like the idea of like having to go to war is just like, nah. I'd rather stay out of that. And if I don't have to sign up for that, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I never. Did you guys sign up for the draft, or do you even do that? Like, how do you do that? Like, do they automatically sign you up?
I don't know. I think when you turn 18, you just fill some shit out. I don't. Don't you remember like your parents making you sign? I don't know. I signed a bunch of shit.
I don't know. Yeah, I definitely did too. Yeah.
I think we all did.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I definitely.
Maybe they trick us into doing it in high school or something.
Maybe
I don't
so.
know. I remember that, but I don't like
Yeah, no.
remember it. You know?
Anyways, off that subject, because I don't want to get caught up on anything. Anyways, do you think you're funny yourself? Because I think I'm freaking hilarious, but I don't think I'm like comic on stage funny. You know what I mean? Do you think you're funny? Like,
yeah, and that's not even just me being like I'm funny. It's like I think damn near everybody is actually funny
in their own way.
Yeah, in their own way, totally. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's just about like packaging it, and sometimes you just need to like tweak it a little bit and like present yourself.
Right.
How
is it different? Like whenever you're being funny, like just as an everyday person, because me, I feel like I'm an everyday funny person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like an on stage funny person. So like, how is it different? Like taking that everyday kind of funny guy and then putting it on stage and giving it to a crowd for like, 45-minute set or however long your sets are.
Yeah, I feel like often in real life I'm like accidentally funny.
Yeah.
But on stage it's like I'm a writer, so I have all these, prepared bits that are like my songs and stuff like that like I wouldn't have just like off the cuff like come up with this like 2.5 minute bit that I do. So it's kind of it's two different things for me. But I often on stage I talk between the bits, which is often like off the cuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I bridge the two worlds together.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. How does the crowd usually play an effect with that?
Man, a lot of times the best is when they like everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like they can like sense the writing in the jokes, and they're just like, oh, we don't really no written stuff, please, or like they can smell the writing.
Yeah.
But then like you'll be off the cuff between them, or like the punchline didn't go like you want it to,
right.
But then you come up with some just like, all right then, well, blah blah blah. Yeah. And then they laugh at that. They're like, he just he just came up with that, and then they like those parts. But then some crowds, it's like they just want everything like carefully. Like when you're at like a comedy show. Like, I just came from a comedy show,
right?
And everything there was like perfectly comedy, and it was at a comedy club, and it's what they wanted.
Yeah. So like, how is it whenever you do write these jokes and they don't go across as well as you planned? Does that kind of hurt a little bit? Like, even if you do win them back, are you kind of still like, but I wanted them, like I took the time, because you take the time to write the jokes, the off the cuff stuff just kind of comes in the moment, naturally and stuff. But like the things that you took the time to prepare for and like craft, they don't go over as well sometimes. Does that kind of like hurt, or you're just like, even though if you win them back like off the cuff, you're just like, all right, at least I got them? Or
well, that's part of the struggle. I mean, you absolutely have to get over that, because there's really nothing worse than like seeing a comic who like clearly isn't happy with how many laughs he got off a joke, so even if inside your head you're like, fuck, that was like 25% of the room and it should have been 75, you shouldn't be able to tell that on your face. And like every comic, it doesn't matter who they are. I mean, there's comics that are doing theaters and in their head they're like, that joke should be 90% of the room should have laughed at that, and it was like 57%, and it's like they're noticing that, and they're like feeling that. And there's comics where you'll be like, man, that was the fucking best comedy show I ever went to, and they'll get off stage, they'll be like, man, I didn't have it tonight, or like I don't know why they didn't like me. Like I've heard so many comics say they didn't like me, where I was like, I heard tons of laughs, but it wasn't the amount of laughs that they're used to getting.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
How does that play in your mental whenever you do get those laughs? Like, how do you get over that? Like you say, it's like something that you like have to do, but like, how do you do that as a comic?
I think it just depends on how many tools you have in the tool bag. I mean, you'll see comics like wrestling with it live, almost like trying to change up their energy and stuff like that, or go into different stuff, or go into their dirtier stuff, or like go into their A material more quickly than they wanted to, or whatever, or just trying to like I don't know. I remember there was this one comic at Blue Whale when I was like a year and a half in that really stuck with me, because I felt like, I mean, he went through the crowd, and I was like, I I bet he only like came out into the crowd because like it wasn't going that well, and he was like, "Fuck no, I'm not fucking bombing on this shit." Like, you'll see people pull out shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Damn, I literally just had a question and it just fucking escaped my mind. I hate when that happens.
Well, I can just keep rambling.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, I'm down for rambling.
Yeah.
He does it once a month here.
Right? So, like, what was that moment on stage for you whenever you realized, like, damn, this is where I belong? Like, I'm gelling, you know? Like, explain that moment, you know? Do you remember that moment?
I did. I have that moment.
Yeah.
I imagine everybody has that moment, but mine was actually at the bar I talked about, that Utopia bar, which is the first bar I ever did comedy at. And I'd gone to some local shows, and the local comics that I saw at that time that I really liked were like superstars to me. And it seems kind of funny to say that now, where it's like, oh, that was just like a local comic that I ended up being friends with and going to Whataburger with, and knowing that they hate their set and they hate themselves and stuff. But like, you know, me just seeing them do like a 15-minute set somewhere and how funny and clever they were, I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know who they are, but they're the fucking shit, you know, to me. And there was two of them in particular, probably two of my absolute favorite ones that I'd seen, and they both, like, you know, gave me dap, you know, when I went to the back of the room after my set, and they were like, damn, that shit was tight, you know, like, you killed it. And I was like, that was my moment in my head where I was like, I will never not want to do this. You know, I was like, that they think I'm cool. I was like, I never had that level of approval before, I think, from anyone that I really wanted it from. Not my, you know, I don't know, say not my parents, but I think I got approval from my parents, like, to a degree, but I always wanted more. Like, you want your parents to, you know, you want to be a doctor
type shit. Yeah, I feel that 100%. Speaking of that, like, how was it, like, with your parents? Like, do they kind of approve of, like, your comedy and stuff now? Like, how was that at the beginning? Did they were like all forward, or how was that?
Oh yeah, my mom's a fan. My dad passed away in 2016, but he came to everything. He was so supportive. He came to shows that I never thought he would come to. Because I had a few that were like, you know, you would come to this show. This is the type of show you'd invite your parents to. And then there was other ones where I'm like, you came all the way out to this Admiral and Sheridan bar. You know, it's like, there's my dad. You know?
Like, just sitting there cracking it up. Were they cool with all the jokes and stuff too?
Yeah, and they were real with me too. Like, I thought, you know, my dad was like, you know, he saw me my first ever set, and he was like, that was pretty good, you know, but he wasn't going to be like, oh yeah, that was like the funniest thing I ever saw. And he was actually like, I think it was like my third or fourth show or something like that. I did a show with my friend Demario Oates, who's actually played this room before at the Racks. And he was like, son, he was like, you did good. And he was like, Demario though, he was like, he was funny. You know, I was like, all right. You know, but you know, you don't want to lie to your kids.
That dude's the best, best so kind of vulgar though. Like, boy, really. Nobody under like 29 years old in the room when he plays.
Right.
And it was humbling doing shows too with like people like that, and like not being the best one on it, you know. And I think it was the same for me as like when I was growing up, like playing basketball and stuff. It's like, you're not going to be the Michael Jordan of this team. Like, you're not going to be the fastest, but you're like, it's cool, you know. And there was comics that I got to perform with, and you know, even you know, some years ago, like opening for Josh Fadum in Oklahoma City, who I look up to. And now we're really good friends, but I mean, I'm still like, damn, dude, that's Josh Fadum. But I was like, man, just watching his set, I was like, wow. I was like, damn.
I think it's honestly like kind of healthy to have that too, where like you always have something to chase, you know what I mean? Like someone that's better than you, that you think is better than you, and it always just kind of gives you room to progress and stuff. Because it's almost like, think about like Mr. Beast, like who does he compete with? You know what I mean? Like he's just in a world up there all by himself, where he's just like, no one's touching me right now, but as soon as someone starts coming, you know what I mean, then he just has to like be better than that person. He always has to have that pressure of being the best, you know, because he is now. But like whenever you're not, if even in your own world, don't think that you're the best, like you always have something to look up to that kind of helps you progress. And I think that's kind of healthy, you know what I mean? It kind of keeps you striving for something, you know?
Yeah, and it's sort of like bands too, where it's sort of like, I sometimes think of comedy as like genres of music. Like there'll be like jazz comedy or country comedy or rap comedy. Right. And like whatever I do is just me, but I'm not going to be my favorite band. Like I don't listen to as many comics that sound like me and that do my style as I do like Chris Rock or something like that, which is a style that I couldn't do.
Right.
But it's like, if you told me what I wanted to sit down and watch, I'd probably rather watch, someone like that or Sinbad or something like that.
I feel that because I literally like don't listen to the podcast. Like I tape them and I'm like, I know what I said. You know what I mean? Like I'll listen to it that one time just so that way like I know what clips to put in for my reels and whatnot. And then like besides that, like I don't listen to that shit. Like I'm like, you know what I mean? I let everybody else want to enjoy it. You know what I mean? I let the people enjoy it. But your own stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same. Like kind of doing that.
What was it like though, getting used to hearing yourself talk? Because a lot of people don't like to hear themselves.
So like when I started the podcast, it was easy because I had already been vlogging for a long time. But at first when I vlogged, oh my gosh, bro, I hated it, bro. I would listen to myself and just be cringing editing videos. And like whenever you first start, you don't know how to edit for shit. So you're just like, you're editing for hours upon hours and all you hear is just yourself just talking and you're like, oh man, that sounds so bad. And then like after a while you kind of I feel like you start to hear yourself the way you do in your own, like when you talk out loud, how you hear yourself. I start to hear myself like that when I hear myself over speakers now. It's like, oh, okay, this is how I sound. So that's kind of
that was such a relief to me too in comedy to hear another comic tell me that they hate all their jokes.
Yeah.
I was like, you do? And they were like, oh yeah, God, I don't want to tell any of my jokes. And I was like, that made me feel so much better because no one told me that. And you start out and you're like, God, I don't really like to do that joking, I don't really like these, and stuff. And you find out how normal that is.
Yeah. What part about comedy do you hate the most?
Oh man, that's such a great question. Nobody ever really asked me that. It's like, what's there to hate about comedy?
Yeah.
I think I hate, if anything, like some of the competitive and weird energy stuff that you see mostly with the newer comics.
Yeah.
Because everybody experiences that and goes through that at some point. And like, I had my moments in that, and like so have all my friends, and you can see it in people, like that kind of like either like jealousy or like, it's just all the weird shit that you kind of get over.
Yeah.
Like the longer you've done it, you just realize like, oh, this guy got a show that I thought I should have been on or whatever. But then a month later, like you got an even bigger show. So it's just like, oh, it's just how it works, and that you can't get everything, but having new people come up and like watching them go through their cringe era is sort of a bummer, because sometimes you'll be involved in it too, where they have like some kind of feeling towards you and you're just like, oh well fuck, or there's nothing I can do to like get them mentally past where they're at.
I feel that for sure. And I've been there too, where like I've seen people that like are doing the same thing that I'm doing. I'm like, man, why are they getting the recognition that I'm not getting? But it's just one of those things where like it's just not your time, and like you have to be able to realize that, because a lot of times I feel like that's what knocks a lot of people out. They get so involved with like other people's time, and they're not realizing like it's just not their time, and then it ends up just pretty much beating them down to the point where they don't even feel like they want to do it anymore, and they're just like, well fuck it, I ain't getting as much time and as much recognition as Jimmy Joe, so I don't want to do this no more. Jimmy Joe ain't no better than me. I had a dude just the other day get mad at me about that. Like he asked me, he wanted to be on the pod, and bro, and like I mean this guy low key like is a little bit off his rocker, you know what I mean? And I'm not afraid to say that. Like if you go to like his page, and stuff, which I'm not gonna put his name out there or anything, but like the guy's a little bit off his rocker, but he just wants to get on a podcast and just ramble, and I'm like, you're not gonna get on here and just ramble. But I try to be nice to the guy, and just tell him, maybe one day, you know what I mean? And then he goes, oh well, I'm better than one of my other podcast guests, and he's like, he don't be talking about nothing. I can talk more about something than him. And I'm like,
my God.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, like, well, talking about other guests ain't really gonna be a good way to get on the pod. And he's like, I don't want to be on that pod anyway. You don't get a lot of views. It ain't gonna do nothing for me. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, 2 minutes ago you wanted to be on, bro. It's just crazy though. It's crazy how people will let other people affect them that much to where they stop doing things.
You got to, remember when you were in school and they said eyes on your own work and stuff, and there's the famous quote, like, comparison is the thief of joy. Famous quote. I can't remember who said it, but it's good, and it's Hughes. Like, don't be scrolling, Instagram and being mad about what somebody else's house looks like or their view count or whatever. Like, fuck, dude, just if you do you'll probably be happy.
Yeah, that is true. Because were you about to say something?
I was just gonna say I'm super guilty of it. Davis checked me on it yesterday or the day before. I was like, man, I wonder what this or this or this store does. Like, we're sitting here like, oh, we're doing great, but are we really? I don't know if we're doing great compared to other stores.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you okay? If you're okay and you're happy, then you're doing great.
Yeah.
Like who cares what they're doing?
And I'm guilty of it myself.
Right.
I mean, like sitting here talking about it helps me, you know what I mean, remember that in my head too, because it's easy for me, you know, to like look at things and be like, dang, like she's popping off. Like I was just seeing about Bobby Altoff, which like she's just going crazy right now, you know what I mean? And I'm like, dang, bro, she's popping off. Like I wish I could do it like that, you know what I mean? But it's just like even little things like that, like just don't worry about it. Just do what you do, keep having fun, because that's at the end of the day, like that's the best thing is like I have fun. Like I get to meet new cool people, you know what I mean? I get to talk about people's feelings and pick their brains and talk about my feelings and, you know, have people pick my brain. It's fun, you know what I mean? So that's the best thing at the end of the day.
Low-key, your pod is kind of like therapy, honest to God. Like
kind of,
I've told
even for me
more
too.
than one or two people about that. I'm like, I feel like it was like it energized me when I was kind of a little down, and like it was like a fresh start.
It's fun to just sit back, talk, reminisce about things, you know what I mean? Like talk about things that you don't normally get to talk about on an everyday basis, you know? Because normally, like the things about podcasts that I love is like normal everyday conversation doesn't always go into depth, you know? Like sometimes it's just kind of surface level conversation, especially like whenever you're used to talking with that person and stuff, you know, you're around that person every day. It just kind of seems like on the surface level kind of conversation. So it's nice to kind of dive deep a little bit and like have, you know, good conversation with someone. So but back to the comedy and stuff, I want to know, like, with you being a comic, with you being just someone who is funny, is it hard for people to take you serious?
I don't think so. I think it just kind of depends on how you present yourself, and everybody's able to like kind of curate their own image online and stuff like that. So I mean, if you want to have yourself online be like a goofy dude that has like meltdowns over like, I'll use you for an example, but I mean, if you posted like a gigantic like tantrum over like your store versus some other store, it's like everybody would see that and they'd be like, oh my God, and like people would be talking about it and stuff, and like you don't want to have that be like your image. So like even if there's times where like feelings, you know, it's we're all human, like you get a feeling of like a jealousy or whatever it is like crosses you kind of got to like still keep your online image, like everything's on the up and up. Like if I have something funny to put out, I'm gonna drop that funny thing, and like, you know, just I mean, you're in control of how people view you. I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. So like, how do you as a comic, like how do you grow and get better? Like how do you practice, you know what I mean? Like how do you do that, like get ready for sets and stuff like that?
Man, I think you need to constantly be, I mean, I think even going to the show tonight, like it doesn't matter who it is, I think everybody is doing something that should make you want to get better. Like if you're seeing people that are really good. We just did the Blue Whale Comedy Festival a couple weeks ago, which is it's the 8th year of it, and we do it once a year, and we have big comics coming in and stuff like that. And I talked to a comic that she is a higher up on the festival out of New York, and she was watching another comic on the festival from LA, and she was like just watching how he moved on stage and stuff like that. She was like, I gotta move more, you know? And I mean, that was cool to hear. I mean, it's just that you can watch somebody else and be like, I'm seeing something that they're doing that I should incorporate that more into my own shit. And it's not like you're biting or anything. It's just watching somebody and being like, oh, they got good energy. You know, like I need more energy.
Right. That is a great learning tool too. Like same, I talked about that in one of the earlier podcasts with a guy that does content creation and stuff. And, you know, he was talking about like watching content, like how he watches content, like he watches it for a purpose. Like almost kind of like how NBA players watch film, football players watch film. They're watching it to like study and learn and learn new things, you know, about what other people are doing. Like, oh, they're doing this, I could use that, you know, put it in my game, maybe put my twist to it, make it better. And like I feel like that's helped me a lot from sitting back watching like professional YouTubers and stuff. And I remember just like earlier whenever I was editing and stuff, I didn't used to put like transitions and like cutscenes, and you know, and then like I just started watching them and I would see them switching and doing like little noises, and I'm like, I need that, you know. And like I just feel like little things like that can make your game and your work so much better.
100%.
Did you ever record yourself and like watch it or listen to yourself?
I've done it, but like it's so hard, you know, because everybody has that level of like, I don't want to sit and watch my 20-minute set, you know, but you really should do it. Everyone that knows anything will tell you to do it. and there's still people that are really good that are somehow really good without doing it. It's just, I think what I would compare it to is probably like watching like your NFL film.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you could be a really good football player, but you'll be even better if you really watch yourself and study.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Damn, that's true. Maybe I should start watching myself. Now you're like making me feel like, oh, no.
Because you'll see you doing something that you probably don't even know that you do or whatever.
That's facts.
You know?
That's facts.
So
definitely.
Comedy's a lot like that too. I mean, I've seen little stuff too where it's like, oh, I'm like using my arm too much, or I'm like not doing anything with my arms, and it's like you're you know. There was a comic I remember. God, it's like a horrible story. I don't think I've ever told this story. Don't make this the clip.
Exclusive. Yeah, clip it up. Clip it up.
But he was a comic that like toured through, and he like left his notebook. I was like a year in at the show, and I was like, should I open it or should I not? You know, and it's like that's kind of. I mean, you shouldn't look at anybody's notebook, and it's not like you're gonna steal their jokes or anything. Like, come on. But I like opened it, and like he had notes in there, like run hand through the hair at this part, like as where the whole joke is written out, like it was like his movements were like that choreographed. And I was like, damn, that's like a lot of attention to detail that I had absolutely not considered.
Right.
You know, it's like some people that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a lot of that person cares a lot.
Yeah, they care a lot.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, not at all. Not at all. The story wasn't to be like.
No.
Yeah, I was like,
kind of like a learning moment.
That's
too.
cool.
For you. Like,
it was.
Like, yeah. And I just I watched a lot of Kevin Hart's podcast or whatever that he has on Peacock, and he was literally just saying that exact same thing about like how paying attention to detail of like movements and stuff like that, and that's pretty much like what he learned. Like he's seen someone else that was talking about it and was thinking the same thing, and he kind of incorporated that into his stuff. And I mean, it's a great way to learn for sure, like taking that much attention to detail. And I think over time, like in any craft that you do, you start to learn to do that, especially if you do care about it, like you said, yeah. So I want to know, what do you think has like been your most embarrassing moment on stage?
Oh my God. Oh shit. There was one set that I had at Enzo, which isn't around anymore, that I really, really hated. Yeah. It was like a crickets through the whole set type set. And there was only like 8 people there, but I ran through like every joke I had to that time. And it was probably like only like my second year, but that was like a really brutal. And I think it was like not long, like after my dad had passed too. And like I went out and I had a parking ticket too on my car. And I went to Quick Trip to fill up gas, and I was like about to cry. Like that was like the closest. But I mean, and it wasn't like, oh, is this only? It was like a lot of it was the set too. It was like really hurt my feelings. So it was just like a really bad. And I was like, I think that was the only set that like almost brought me to tears. But it just felt like the convergence of all these things being wrong at the time. But that was one of the roughest sets I've ever had. And I had one in Arkansas too that was mega embarrassing that I can tell you about. Yeah. This is a horrible story. Don't judge me on the story. Please don't
That's
judge.
the way any great story starts.
Please do not judge me on this. So we get to Arkansas, and there's like 10 people there. Keep in mind, we've driven like 2 hours to be there with my friends, all Tulsa comics, to do a show. And one of the comics was like, let's just hang out a while and see if we get some more people. And so we waited like 45 minutes to an hour. And then like 4 people are leaving, so we're like, no one knew it's come. So like now we got to perform for like 6 people, and then they were like, oh no, there's some people in the parking lot who might come in, but there's a fight going on. Oh I know, with audience members in the parking lot, and this dude like hit one of the women in the parking lot, and we're just like sitting around waiting for like one of them that was consoling the girl to come in, like the girl that got hit or whatever was not coming to the show. She was leaving, and the guy that hit her wasn't coming to the show, but it was like a friend of this girl that was coming to the show or whatever. It's fucking horrible, right? Yeah. And I don't know, I wasn't thinking, and I was like the MC, and I was like, oh yeah, hitting women in the parking lot, and I started like bringing it up, but I did it in such like a flippant, like, this guy doesn't even give a fuck, like, kind of way, and I could feel like the iciness in the room. And it was just like, oh, fuck. Like, that's literally like the girl. And it was just like a moment of just like, these aren't all like my friends that know me. Yeah. They're like, oh, Evan doesn't mean anything by it. It's Evan. It's cool. They're like, we don't even fucking know this asshole. Yeah. Like, who the fuck is this guy? It was like, and I kind of, was trying my best to like, dig myself out of that hole, but I couldn't really dig myself out of the hole. And then, when I walked to the back, like even the comics were like, fuck dude, like we bring you to like host and like get the energy up. And it was like, what have you, it's like, it was like the worst job I had done to that point, and maybe the worst set I've ever done.
Yeah.
But then, DeMario was on that show too, and he killed for like 6 people for like an hour.
Yeah.
And I remember that was so humbling because it was like, to that point, I was still trying to use that crutch of like, it's a bad crowd, or like, there was only 6 people, but like watching him like murder for an hour, like the ride home, it was just like, I remember like not even wanting to talk, and like they were kind of joking amongst each other, and I was just like quiet, like embarrassed, upset. And I was just like, I need to get back to the basics of comedy, where it's like, I'm not going to come out and just, like whatever, like here's some dark, a spin on the situation where, it's like you come out, go back to the ABCs, self-deprecating, like go to back to the basics, back to the roots, and that was a humbling moment for me.
Yeah. I have so I used to do like theater like a little bit whenever I was younger in like elementary school, and I've already told this story on the pod, so like for everybody that's already heard it, you get a refresher on it, you know what I mean? I really don't want to tell it again because the girl that the story is about, somebody actually sent it to her, and then she like messaged me and was like, oh, I'm so sorry, somebody just sent this to me, if I didn't mean to like make you feel this way in like 4th grade. And I'm like, dude, it was all good. Like, it was funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal. I really didn't think about it that much later after the day. But anyway, so I used to do like I said, a lot of plays and stuff. And like, I've always kind of had an outgoing personality. So I don't know why, but the music teacher decided to cast me as like the singer, like the soloist for this song that was like a really, really high pitch. I mean, like super high pitch, way more high pitch than I could sing, soprano type. And so I'm out there and I'm singing it, right? And like, I can already feel like I'm just bombing this, right? And I'm just, there's a star in the east. And I look up, and the chick that like, I'm like in 4th grade, she's like in high school. I look up, and the chick that I have like the biggest crush on is just dying laughing in the crowd, like just sitting there just cracking up. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is terrible. Like, no. It felt so bad, bro. And like, that song, I still get clowned to this day from my family about that song. Every year during Christmas time, they say, J.O., sing your song. Sing your song. No. I'm like, oh my gosh, they'll never let me live it down.
I remember one time, this little girl next door was probably like, she was probably like 12 or something, was practicing for something like that.
Yeah.
And she kept singing like the beginning bars to that song from Frozen where she's like, for the first time in forever. And we could hear her fucking perfectly in our house. And she did it like 180 times. We were losing it.
Just dying.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. This is not the first time ever.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So I read that in an article where like, you were hit by a train. Is that true?
That's accurate, yeah.
So tell us about that.
I don't know this.
Yeah. I'm stupid. I was in Oklahoma City, and I'll try to do like a condensed version of it. Basically, I was in Oklahoma City. It's kind of in an unfamiliar area, checking the GPS, checking the radio and all that stuff, and I wasn't paying attention. And the cars in front of me were like zipping through it, even though it was coming. I wasn't paying attention, and it just missed hitting me, but hit the back seat door, and like just spun the car out like crazy and knocked me out, gave me 2 black eyes. And
wow,
I was really, really lucky to be alive, I was told.
That is absolutely crazy. I actually went to like school to work on like trains and stuff, to go work on the railroad. Yeah, I was gonna go do that but then I was like, no.
Dude, it was crazy because they sent me a letter too. Like I was responsible for damages to their train.
Wow, how much were the damages?
It was a lot. They were like, if your insurance won't pay it in full, then we're gonna sue you. Was basically like the wordings. BNSF train.
BNSF, dude, that's like one of the ones that I wanted to be on too, bro. I wanted to work for them so bad, bro. BNSF is like one of the best paying jobs and stuff, bro. Damn. I was like, man, dude, that's crazy, bro. So I want to hear, like, I mean, I guess you kind of gave us a shortened version. I won't make you go into the long version, but how did that like play into your mental after that? Like, were you kind of scared to like get out after that? Were you kind of just like, damn, like, I just got hit by a fucking train. Like, how do I move on from this?
Yeah, I did write a bit about it. I only performed it a couple times, but making it into a joke was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think I never went to the hospital for it.
Really?
Yeah, and I do think I have some kind of like almost like a PTSD type of thing from it.
Yeah.
But for sure, like I did have like even going over train tracks ever, or just like being in traffic thinking someone's gonna hit you or something, out of nowhere.
Kind of fucks with your mental for a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
You need car accidents like that though. Like my last big one, like I got rear-ended, and then for probably like 3 years, anytime I go to brake, I'm like looking in the mirror, like is this motherfucker gonna? Yeah.
I've never been in a bad accident like that yet, so I'm hopefully pray to God I never do have to experience that. But I've been in a couple accidents, but usually it's just nothing crazy, Dude, but like I'm just so fascinated by that. Like, how many people get to say that they've been hit by a train and live? You know what I mean? Like, even if the, wasn't as bad. Like you got hit by a freaking train, dude. That's crazy.
It pretty much
It
pretty much took off the back half of the car too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty insane. I asked the EMTs because I was like, have you guys ever like come out to like a train hits car before? Or is this the first one? And they were like, dude, we did one other one, and we were picking up body parts for hours.
Wow.
After it, and so they were like, we were really surprised that you were whole and alive and everything. So we just figured that's what we were getting called out.
Yeah.
That's what it was gonna be.
Damn.
And then when I was in the ambulance, he was like, he kept being like, calm down.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I'm good. And he was like, you're about to have a stroke. And I was like, no, I'm fine. He was like, you're talking super fast. And I was like, wow, I don't know what you mean. Like, I think I was so, like, my adrenaline had shot up so high that I couldn't feel anything. And when I woke up, the next day I woke up and it was, like, still dark out, and my whole body's fucking aching.
Yeah. Damn, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Did you go to the doctor and stuff, or did you
No, I never went to the doctor, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, like, part of it I was so embarrassed. Like, I had to tell the story so much, and everyone was just like, man, you fucking idiot, like, how do you not see a train go? Look how big it is, like, everyone was just like ribbing me so hard about it, that I thought if I ended up in like a long like legal battle over it or something, like, or any kind of anything that was going to prolong it, like, I just wanted to pretend it didn't happen, other than doing the joke about it, which was Roy's idea. Roy was the comedy class teacher at the time. He was like, dude, you were hit by a train, like, you gotta talk about it. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, any comic that gets hit by a train is gonna do a bit. So.
How many of those are there out there?
Yeah, and that was something that my friend Peter Bedgood, he taught a comedy class, a different one at a different club that used to be open downtown called Comedy Parlor. And his day one assignment for everyone in the comedy class would be to write about the worst thing that ever happened to you and make a joke out of it.
Damn.
I just spilled a bunch of beer down my shirt. Sorry. That should be great for the clip.
I'm definitely zooming in.
Oh, yeah.
And then Peter would tell his joke, which was a super dark joke, and everyone would be like, okay, damn.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you really tell it?
Yeah, he still tells it every once in a while. It's basically like talking about, I mean, this is his bit, but that he was molested when he was like 5 years old, but he was like, but I had like the body of an 8-year-old. but then it's not even over there. He goes, then
That's so fucked.
He's like, then he.
So you don't know Peter. I kind of know. Met him a few times, so I don't know, man.
So then he said like he found out that the guy killed himself, and he was like, damn, was I that bad?
Oh my God.
It's horrible.
It's so bad, bro.
I know. He
That's
performed that.
Tears in my eyes, bro. It's so bad, bro. Oh my God.
I love telling his bits because I feel like I get him. I'm like, I know Peter's energy. Like, we know each other well enough where I'm like, I know this bit. But he performed at the Racks last time, and it was an insane set.
Oh my gosh, bro. I'm going to get
hoot.
canceled, bro. This pod is getting canceled.
All right, since you brought that joke up,
okay,
who is your favorite, let's say, modern comic?
Oh man, I have a lot. Man, I just saw 2 insane sets. I mean, I love Josh Fadem, who I mentioned earlier. At Blue Whale Comedy Festival, we had Joe Pera, who's fucking one of the best sets I've ever seen. Sarah Sherman, one of the best I've ever seen. Kelly Ryan, one of the best I've ever seen. Huge fan. They're all modern, active. Kelly Ryan was on the road opening for Anthony Jeselnik and Bert Kreischer and other people, and she's got her name on the Comedy Store wall now, and she's blowing up. She's only like 29 or something like that, you know, but she's killing it. Those are some of my favorites, but I'm one of those people that likes like fucking every comic, you know, where I'm like, I like Eddie Griffin, I like Mitch Hedberg, like I like everybody.
Who's your Mount Rushmore comics?
Oh. Damn, you'd have to have Chappelle up there.
That's a good one.
You got to have Chris Rock up there. Bring the Pain's one of the best specials ever. And you can kind of tell what era people came from based on their specials. You know, I think of the people that are like Cat Williams is their favorite or whoever. And I was a Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle era when I was coming up. So those are some of my classics. Like I love the Bring the Pain special where he talks about the Tossed Salad Man and the OJ bit and all that stuff is like super legendary to me.
I'm a Kevin Hart lover, bro. Kevin Hart is my all-time favorite comic. I do like Dave Chappelle is gonna be like one of my number twos. Like, but for me, like the special that I love the most about Dave Chappelle is like one of his newer ones. You know, like
really,
like that last one that he did whenever he started talking about like
the closer.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, that one. Oh no, not the closer. What was the Netflix one that he did? Like I think it was right around COVID time. It was the one where he started talking about like the trans and basically like being called a nigga and stuff for saying that on.
He has such a different style now to me. It's more he has more old man energy than he did when he was younger. He could kind of be like he was a lot more playful.
Yeah, it was.
You know, I really like almost like people that would be like I like Kanye's, you know, first 4 albums or whatever versus like new Kanye versus old Kanye. I feel like there's a new Dave Chappelle versus old Dave Chappelle.
Absolutely.
I'll give you that, yeah. And I agree. Like I mean, now that you like say it like that, I think his old stuff is better. I just think I remember and like kind of resonate more with the new stuff because I'm older now and like I kind of understand it more, you know, as opposed to like I guess I haven't went back and rewatched a lot of them, but I need to do that, I guess, so that way I can kind of
like the one like the baby in the ghetto bit. Like you got to watch that one. That's a classic.
Neither one of you said Eddie Murphy though. Eddie Murphy, raw and delirious.
Both are he was funny, but he was just better. Like I mean, for me again, like it's younger guy. You know what I mean? So it was more like movies for me for Eddie Murphy. You know,
it's the era. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, because I would definitely say like Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle. I don't know who I'd put that fourth one on.
Bill Burr. Just say Bill Burr.
Probably like, well, I guess they're not comedians though. I was gonna say like Key and Peele, but they're not actual.
Yeah, comedians. I love Key and Peele.
Yeah, they're good guys right there.
My Mount Rushmore, I think, would be Eddie Murphy.
Richard Pryor.
No. Too vulgar. George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Anthony Jeselnik, and Bill Burr are my 4 absolute favorites. Jeselnik to me is like the most offensive dude. That's why what you were saying about Peter, like that's Anthony Jeselnik.
It is, way. That's his style for sure.
Hilarious.
I've never heard of any of those guys.
If you were crying about that joke a minute ago,
dude,
watch Anthony.
You can never hear, you never see the punchlines coming.
I shouldn't have been laughing that hard.
Yeah, he takes you like, it's slow, methodic delivery. Yeah. It takes you down this road, but then drops you off way over here.
Right.
And you're like, what the hell?
That's the best way to say it.
Oh, it's great.
So good.
Oh man. So like, how is what you're doing now? Like being a comedian, is this what you do full time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is this different than what you thought you were gonna be doing when you were like 13? You know, a kid basically.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, when you're a kid, I mean, you have really unrealistic dreams where you're like, you want to be an astronaut. Yeah. No, I really had given up on my dreams because I just thought like, you know, dreams are bullshit. You know, and like I was working in a law firm and I just thought that was the best things would ever get, and I'd probably just die alone at my keyboard, you know. Like I didn't see that things were going to turn around, and that's often what I try to tell people that are in that suicidal or things are never going to get better mindset.
Yeah. And
that you never really know, and you can't even see it coming. Like it'll all happen on a Tuesday when you don't expect it, when your life is going to turn around. So there'll be like my life turned around in my 30s, and there's people that are like way younger than that. Yeah. And they're like, oh, things are never going to turn around. It's like you could end up writing one of the most famous books ever from an author from Tulsa, and even you can't say that that's not going to happen because you don't even know. Like I didn't know where I would be. Yeah. You know?
Right.
And it all happened really fast too. Like I was on being interviewed by the Edge radio station, and like one of his first questions to me was like, so how did you become like the most popular person in Tulsa? Like first question. and it was just like such a surreal moment. He was wearing my shirt that I'd recently come out with, and it was like 2016, and I was just like, 2 years ago I didn't know hardly anyone here, and like that's your opening line. It was like something out of a sitcom or something, because it's just fake,
right?
You know, I'm like, this. No, if someone had said this is what your life is going to be like in 2 years, I'd be like, yeah, right. And and I'm not the only person with a story like that. Right. Shaun's probably got a story like that. Definitely. You probably got a story like that. But there's some people that haven't got their story like that yet.
Right.
But they will.
Yeah. We touched on that in our pod.
In our last one,
Just dreams, man. If you've got a dream, just don't give up on it.
Did you think you were going to be sitting in your store?
Yes and no. It depended on the day. Man, it's so strange to me. Like my brother, this kid, actually same name as me, Shaun, in like 5th grade, 4th grade, something, he was this total smart ass. Teacher would ask a question, and he'd always say, they'd ask any question, he'd go, 37. Just blurt out this number, 37.
I love that.
And it was so weird, and it became my favorite number because of that. And it's my little brother's favorite number.
Yeah.
And I told I'm crazy with like theories and stuff, but I told my girlfriend like years ago, I was like, the number 37 has some meaning in my life. I don't know what it is, but something with 37 will happen. And I was 37 years old when I started the store.
Damn.
And it's the weirdest thing to me. It's been 2 years now, but 37 years old, that's when I jumped and accomplished what is my dream.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you ever think that's like an Easter egg that like the universe puts in your life? Almost like
absolutely.
To like fuck with you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%, bro. 100%.
For sure.
Whatever this universe we're living in is,
they're like, this will be funny like years from now. You know.
See, look, that joke made me cry. Your touching moment is nothing like ever. See, we
man.
2 different guys here, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
This is therapy. I didn't know.
I said
something about a couch and a couple kind.
Couch. Can we address the couch? Is it okay to address the couch? Yeah, like we did our last pod, and this couch is broken, and we rigged it up, and we was supposed to like crop. They noticed. People were like, "Was that couch melting?" But now we got it rigged up.
Nobody asked that.
Bro, on my life, at least 3 of my customers like, the couch looks like it's melting in the heat. I'm like, bro, it's supposed to crop it. But now we got it fixed, sort of.
I thought the speakers just like belong there.
They do. They're part of that table that plays music. Shout out Galen DeVoe, makes these tables play music. There's speakers, yada yada yada. It's always a shout out and a plug anytime I'm on a mic.
So. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Back to the show.
Back to the show. What was life like growing up for you, man? What was like?
Man, we were not poor, but we were like, we were far from rich. Like I think, people talk about like, is there a middle class anymore? Like probably not. But back then, I mean, I considered us like we were like a middle class to
family.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So went to all public schools. And I was just like, I think I was like a pretty regular kid, up to like a certain point, up to like towards the end of middle school. Really, middle school for me is, I think, were a few like the first like really hard years of my life that I hit. Where like you're like actively kind of like losing friends because like you're kind of getting more. You're like becoming like more of like a obvious weird kid, as you go through like puberty real weird and stuff like that, and you don't have a girlfriend, and like other dudes are getting girlfriends, and you're just all of like the things that aren't the best about you are starting to be more noticeable to like the kids around you, I think. And so I went through like a really rough, like super mega ugly duckling era. And I mean, I it took me a lot of time, I think, to get that confidence back, and I still don't think I have all the confidence that I had when I was in like elementary. Because man, I see that a lot. Like I think when kids take that huge confidence hit, like somewhere in say middle school or high school or elementary or whatever, they get it, and you almost like never fully get it back. Like when you can see that like every kid kind of thinks you're lame. And kids will say it to you too.
They will.
Like I had some of my like bullying stories, like not even like the worst ones, but I've told them like to other people, and they're like, shit, that really happened to you? Like that was not normal.
Like what?
Well, like this is not like that insane, but like I think I was in 6th grade, and school hadn't even started yet, like the bell hadn't even rung, but we were all on our desks, and I felt like a super hard push in my back, and remember where the desk was, where you just like it hurt so fucking bad. And I just turned around, and he was just looking at me, and I was like, what? And he goes, "Why don't you know how to comb the back of your hair?" You know?
That is fucked. I got clowned once in like first grade for wearing pink. The kid clowned me so hard. It was the teacher's son too, and it ended up being like one of my best friends growing up in like school and stuff. But he clowned me so hard that day, bro, that like I freaking went over there and I was like standing up and I was like yelling at him and I'm like, "What's wrong with paint?" And like I slammed my hand down, and you know like how they used to have all like the pencils, the sharpened pencils right there. I slammed my hand down, and like when I picked it up, there was just a pencil stuck in my hand. Like, and I just remember like I just started crying in front of the whole class and stuff, and I got this pink shirt on, and I'm like, dude, I freaking hate this kid. Like, he just clowned me for pink. Like,
no.
I was kind of a bully though. I ain't gonna lie.
For real?
Kind of. It was only one kid. And I'm not gonna lie. I did bully this kid, but like it's funny now because the kid's so big. Like he ended up getting, even like throughout high school, I remember like, dude, I would never clown Kenny now. Like this kid would beat my ass. You know what I mean? Like, but like I remember in elementary school, I don't know what it was. Like I just didn't like him. We just didn't like each other, and like we would always do little petty things. And I kind of had an anger problem like back then, so he would do like little petty things to me, and like I just punch him. I just punch him, bro. Like the smallest things, dude. I was such an asshole. I remember once I was in like second grade, and the kid was like, "Jo, go for a pass." So I run out there. He throws me the football. Here comes Kenny, grabs it and catches it. Turns around, interception. Kenny's in like third grade or whatever. He's a grade above me. And he's like, interception, and I'm just like, boom, just punched him like the worst little asshole, bro. I was so bad, bro.
Man, my little bully story was that we had this kid that moved from Sepulpa to Collinsville, kind of a thug. Bobby, right?
Yeah.
Capital B, little O, little B, dash, capital E.
What?
That's how dead ass how he spelled his name. I promise. That's what he wrote on his papers and shit. But I had not met this kid yet or whatever. This big dude, I won't even say his name. I remember he like book checks me in the hallway, shoves me up against a locker. Like big dude, went to play lineman for TU type big, you know? And I remember, oh, dude's picking on me again. All of a sudden, Bobby picks up this like math algebra book or whatever, strokes this dude in the face with this dude, just picks it up. Never met me in my life, dude. Saw me getting bullied, picks this shit up, strokes this dude with a book as hard as he could, knocked him. He's like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, you want to fight somebody? Pick on me, bitch. Like, went after him, dude. He's like, no, we're cool, man. We're cool, whatever. Walks off. Became pretty good friends with Bobby. Man. He was a total thug, man. Hilarious, dude.
Bobby was
super
the homie.
funny, for sure.
Dang,
Got
so
into
funny.
all kinds of trouble, dude.
Really?
In our crafts class, he would do the dumbest shit. He made a wire sculpture of a big penis and testicles out of wire, bro. Like, but he was an artist. He could do anything with art. Broke. His mom and him lived in like a camping trailer.
Yeah.
We did stained glass one time. You're supposed to go to a dollar store, whatever, buy like a frame, and then stained glass the glass or whatever. He comes with a window that he had found in an alley somewhere and does this full like Grim Reaper holding a stopwatch on this like giant wooden window. Just crazy good artist, but he's got in trouble all the time. He was wild.
Seems like those good friends are the ones you usually get in the most trouble with, bro. I was just thinking the other day about one of my, we used to have like three of us. It was like me, my friend Blake, and then my other friend Dylan. And we'd hang out religiously every day. But like right around like our sophomore year is the time that like school started doing that random thing where like if you they would drug test you like randomly, and if you were, it was like all the kids that were in extracurricular activities. So if you were in any type of extracurricular activity, whether that be band, sports, whatever it may be, like you would get randomly selected for a drug test. And if you basically popped hot, then like they'd call your parents or whatever. And I remember one of my friends ended up popping hot. They called his parents, and like his mom hated us, bro. Like he could hang out still, but like not with us. Like he was grounded from us, and that sucked, bro. Like we lost a good friend that day, bro. I'm like, damn, man. Like I like Dylan a lot, man. That shit sucked.
Damn, I lost a friend in school too that like he was like an outcasted, picked on kid with me, and then he fought back against his bully and became cool, and then he started hanging out with the cool kids, but he would always still give me like a head nod in the hall, like, I remember you, bro. Like, you can't come with me, but
That's crazy. That's wild. Where'd you go to school at?
Memorial.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
What's up, dude? Sorry. Wild.
Yeah.
So, what would you say that, like, because, I mean, from the basis of, like, growing up, it seems like you kind of dealt with a little bit of trauma in their life and stuff. Do you think that that's like a main foundation for most comics, is they're dealing from some place of kind of like tragedy? You know, it doesn't seem like most comics just have a great life. You know what I mean? Like they went through some type of tragedy.
I think absolutely for most. I think there's like outliers. You know, there's some people that kind of fall into it in a backwards way, so they're not not the atypical. But you can see those definitely all throughout the scenes. I mean, and I mean, you can see those people, and you can watch them on stage and be like, yeah, this dude, hella trauma.
Yeah.
But I'm one of the ones that I think I've never completely fit in with that group because I'm a more, like, I'm far from a normal person, but I'm not someone that's like mega fucked up. You know? Yeah. Like, I can write, you know, and I love humor. I feel like the stuff I watched growing up and like my family's type of humor and stuff like that, I think is just like, I think I'm like a collection that's all like shaped me. Like I think everybody that like grew up with South Park and shit like that generation's different than like the Simpsons humor generation or whatever. In Living Color, Beavis and Butthead.
In Living Color is my shit, bro. I watched a lot of In Living Color. It was definitely before my time, but my aunt, she loved that show and she would always watch it, and I just remember being like younger and like sitting there watching it, dude. I love that shit.
I was a huge fan.
I refused to watch Mad TV for the longest time because it took the place of In Living Color, and I loved that.
Yeah, I never watched
boycotted
Mad TV,
for
but
that reason.
In Living Color, that was my shit, boy.
So good.
The Wayans, dude. The Wayans are so. I think the Wayans are some of the most slept on. You know, like they are so fucking funny, bro. Like, and it's a whole family of them that's just killing it, dude. Like,
that's very true.
Dude, there's like fucking 20 of them.
There's a lot.
Dude, there's so many. Like, especially now. Like, I mean, we grew up with like what Keenan, Ivory, and
Damon,
Marlon. You know, that's who we grew up. But now they all have kids, and some of their kids have kids, and there's nieces and nephews.
It's a dynasty.
Blank Man's one of my all-time favorites.
Oh yeah,
Blank Man was so good.
Blank Man was funny. I did see Blank Man, and I like Little Man too. That was a good one too. They are slept on though.
I watched an interview though where Damon Wayans and where he talked about Blank Man, and he had regrets about it because it's like more, they kept it more PC than what it would have been or how they wanted it to be, and he felt like if they had gotten free, like creative control to go as hard as they wanted to go with that, that it would have been better.
If there was ever a reboot that needs to happen, Blank Man should happen. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people kind of lose a little bit of creativity, or not necessarily lose creativity. They lose like a little bit of spunk whenever they lose that creativity, that freedom to do what they really want to do. Have you ever been in that situation where you haven't been able to create like the way you want? Or I bet like comedy is kind of more of along the lines of like kind of free.
I feel like on the clean sets, you know, and sometimes you find out about those like at the show where they're like 5 minutes before you go up, they're like, this is a clean show, or like you can't curse, and you're like, what?
Can't curse? You've been to shows where you can't curse?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that? Like, how is that switching it up, especially?
Man, I mean, you honestly, and everyone will tell you this, is that you should have a clean set. You know, like you should have your clean set and your dirty set.
Yeah.
But there's times where it's like, if you don't work clean a lot, or you don't need to, I mean, if you're not doing a bunch of family friendly shows, and then all of a sudden like you find out you got to do one, you're really like, shit, I really got to like think, because you might not have a current clean set on hand. You might have had the clean set that you haven't done in 3 years, and you're like, oh god, let me remember what my clean set even is. You know, because I mean, and that's not even just saying like, oh well, I can't say fuck or shit or whatever. It's like, you don't want to be talking about like an abortion gone wrong either. You know what I mean? You want to take out all of the stuff that isn't like for the family. And then it's really hard. You realize how many adult topics just naturally flow into comedy, and that even my, cleaner stuff is still like PG-13 clean. It's not like a G-rated like, but a lot of people like just think you have that or can do that or whatever. They hire you for a party or something, and then it's just like, of course this guy has 30 minutes of like friendly clown, comedy, G-rated jokes. I'm like, I don't. And I used to tell people too, like there was a few shows I did where I just said, fuck it, you know, and just did my shit. And it's like, you don't hire, you know, I don't want to give like an example. I need to use an example, but I'm not comparing myself to that person.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you wouldn't hire like the Rolling Stones, and if you hire the Rolling Stones, you're gonna get rock and roll music, 'cause that's what the fuck they do.
Right.
You know, it's like if you hired me to do anything, you get an Evan Hughes comedy set.
Hughes comedy show,
but I mean, that'll happen to you though, and it's happened to me a couple times even recently.
Yeah.
I had one of them ended up being like a good experience, and like I did well with it, and the other one I ended up not doing well with it just from lack of preparation and just not doing my best in that moment.
So man, as we kind of get to the end of this pod here, man, like what's your goal with comedy? Like where do you hope to make it to with it? Do you just kind of enjoy doing what you're doing now? Or are you still trying to like move up the ranks? You know, what's kind of your end goal, if there is an end?
Man, it's funny. We just came from seeing Jessica Curson at Bricktown, who's been doing comedy for decades, and she said at the end of the set, she's got a sitcom in the works that Bill Burr's producing, and she's got a Netflix special coming out. And I don't know, she's probably about the same age Bill Burr is, like right now, and has been doing this forever. And she's getting like basically the biggest break of her entire career. Yeah. The only thing slowing down her sitcom is the writer's strike. But so I mean, I think if I'm alive, like I can never say, you know, that would go against what I said earlier on the podcast. Like I can never say this won't happen to me, or I won't be here. This won't happen. Like there's no reason to say that. But it's also not like a guarantee of like I won't be happy unless I'm, you know, a major film star or something like that's ridiculous. Right. You know, so I'm happy with where I've got. I'm happy with my life. I mean, I got a good house. I have a great girlfriend.
Yeah.
I have so many cool friends.
Right.
I love my city. I love basically everything about my life. I'm recording my first special November 10th. The guy that's directing it is someone I have a huge respect for. Mm-hmm. He's involved heavily in the hip hop community and in the film community.
Cool.
He did the Fire in Little Africa documentary was his work. Yeah, he goes by Sneak the Poet. So anything he puts out is a Sneak joint.
Okay.
He just dropped a short film called Enlighten that I saw at Circle Cinema, and he's so fucking good at what he does.
Yeah. That
like he approached me with the idea of shooting the special. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of felt like about the special, and I said this to Josh, that I was like, if I don't find the right person to shoot it, I'm not going to let just anyone shoot it, because it's got to be someone that you trust.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you know, anyone could set up a camera and film you or like put out, you know, a special, but how's that going to look? You know, you could even have a good set and it could look bad. I mean, you've probably seen a special, maybe not like a Netflix level one, but if you've watched a lot of comedy where you're like, this is not shot well.
Yeah.
You know, and he approached me with the idea to do it, and I was like, man, if I tell him no, even if I don't feel like I'm ready right now, or if I think I'm a year away, or whatever the fuck I think, I'm basically chickening out. I mean, this is like the moment. And I was just like, oh, let's do it. And then he came out and filmed me opening for Sarah Sherman at Kane's Ballroom a couple weeks ago. And I had a moment at that show too where I was like, he mic'd me up for it and was filming, you know, behind the scenes, backstage stuff that'll end up as like B-roll, I guess you call it, like in the special, like in the before, after. And I was like, man, if I go up there and like the set doesn't go well, or if like this tanks, I should probably be worried about the special. I was like, this is an important, let's not kid ourselves. Like, this is an important moment, and I need to have the same energy with this as I would have with the special. Yeah. Like, just all in. Mm-hmm. And it went so fucking good. I was so happy with it. I was like relieved too. I was like, this is gonna work. It actually made me kind of wish I was doing it at Kane's, but I think where we're doing it at Lowdown, which is the Duet Restaurant Jazz Club, and it is an ideal place to record a special. It's just that we're gonna sell it out really easily because I know a lot of people. Yeah. And that sounds like arrogant or whatever, but I mean I sold out Looney Bin in 2016, which is a bigger room than Lowdown, and I've never recorded a special, so it's gonna be November 10th, and it's gonna be one of the biggest nights of my life one way or another. You know, we're only doing one taping. Yeah. We're not doing 2 shows in a night or 3 shows where I wear the same outfit and it's all edited together. It's like however this fucking comes out, it's like we're dropping it, and a lot of people are gonna see it. So like if it sucks, it sucks. If it's great, it's great. But it's, to me, I've always looked at it as like bands or like, you know, rappers or whatever it is. It's like you want to release your album whether or not Warner Brothers or Universal ever comes around. Like just do it independent. You know, some of my favorite albums are independent albums, and I'm doing this as like a alt comedy or like whatever you would call what I do. Is like I'm putting my album out. You know, and I don't know if I'll do a second one or not. You know, because you know you never know if you're even going to be here. Yeah. But yeah. So I think about that honestly like, every day. Yeah. I haven't taken a shower where I wasn't thinking about either like jokes or the special through the entire shower, like since we figured out this was going to happen. Yeah. You know, and it's just getting closer and closer. Says,
I haven't taken a shower.
I thought that's where he was going.
For the
we're so far apart.
That's going to be the title of the video. Evan Hughes, I haven't taken a shower.
Real ones know. What is it? IYKY?
Yeah, IYKYK.
Yeah.
So the special, have the tickets already came out for those?
No, we haven't. The ticket link's not online. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to announce it like a month and a half before or like a month before, but we haven't done the photo shoot yet with like the director and the camera people and stuff like that. But so Bobby Ross will be on cameras and paid and a bunch of people that I'm super excited about having on the team. And yeah, it's probably the thing I'm most excited about and most nervous for. And yeah, I mean,
drop me that link whenever you get that because I definitely would love to be there for sure.
That I want everyone to be there, and that's the only thing that's somewhat of a bummer about it is that like the capacity is like 100, and they're probably not going to let us go too crazy over capacity for it because they're pretty serious about it. But I'm supposed to meet Jeff Sloan, who's like the acting, guy that runs it. I don't know if he's like the owner, but he's the guy. Yeah. So we're gonna go up there and meet him and talk about what the room is gonna look like and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, as far as like comedy, like something my dad said to me about it a long time ago. When I found out he had cancer, I was kind of making like I don't know. I just said, I was like, Dad, you can't go because what if I do something really cool in comedy? You got to be here to see it. And he was like, son, as far as I'm concerned, you already did it, and I couldn't be more proud of you. Yeah. And that's how I look at it still to this day. It's like I've already did it. Yeah. That's and like every other thing is just like just extra whipped cream.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. You already kind of got your cake. Now you're just eating it too. Let's go.
So good.
I love that, man. Also, I wanted to ask you. You said earlier, you kind of mentioned your girlfriend. Does your girlfriend think that you're as funny as everyone else does?
I think that's why we're together.
Really? Nice.
I don't think I could land her. Shaun's met her. Yeah. I don't think I could get her if I wasn't funny. Because it ain't my looks.
Yeah.
Just go look up a picture of us together and you'd be like, he's funny.
I know why. It's your nickname, bro. Evan Hughes. That's probably the funny thing, but also that. Right?
I definitely feel like I think I'm funny and stuff, but like I'm like. And I think my girl thinks I'm funny too, but probably not as funny.
She hasn't laughed once since we've been here. She's
probably not. She doesn't really laugh a whole lot. Okay. Most of the time, she's just like, "Stop picking my nose and putting your fingers in my ears and stuff like that." I kind of do a lot of that stuff.
That's got to be horrible though to be with someone that you don't think is funny. So you're gonna end up on a road trip for 15 hours sometime. You're gonna be sitting up in the middle of the night with them, and it's just you guys.
Yeah, just y'all better find something good to talk about.
Yeah, you got to be able to riff on like shit, and even like shit that they haven't heard. Like I got to be able to like see a spider in the corner and like come up with something to entertain her, or she's gonna be gone.
Right, sleeping all the way, huh? Oh man, well man, we appreciate you stopping in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
It's one of the best podcasts I've done. For
really,
real. Yeah,
man,
damn, dude, the best podcast.
It's the best. I didn't want to diss anybody. I have a podcast too. So.
Oh really? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I do it with a couple guys, Buddy Rodriguez, DJ Holodizzle, and we had Dial Tone on as a guest today. Dial Tone, aka Tone's Beach, No Parking Studios, and Paid. He's kind of, and Ben. They're kind of like the creators and behind the scenes, like editing and stuff like that. But cool. It's called In Case You Didn't Know.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. Everybody that's watching here, make sure you guys. Where you guys streaming at?
We've been doing it at Erie Abbey Ales, but we're probably gonna move at some point. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that on the show, but like how things go.
No, I meant like where can they find it?
I think it's on it's on like everything, like
okay,
Spotify
cool.
and all that shit, I believe.
Yeah. So everywhere you guys can find me, you guys can find them too. So make sure you guys go give them a follow, give them a listen, check out some of those episodes, and go ahead and drop all your socials and stuff for all your comedy and everything, just so that way people can.
Yeah, I think my Instagram is my favorite of the platforms. You know, everybody's got kind of their favorites. Evan B. Hughes on Instagram. I started one of those fucking threads things where nothing's happening on there.
I need to start that, dude. That's gonna be the next new thing, man.
I think if you haven't started it yet, you already missed it.
God damn it, dude. I'm always late, bro. I'm always late.
It's already dead.
Man, it's already dead. But then there's Twitter, aka X. I'm on there. You can find me on there. Facebook. I got a Facebook still. I've got a TikTok that I don't really use.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing, but it's cool for the kids.
I fucking hate TikTok, bro.
Really?
I mean, I post on there twice a day, every day, bro, and I fucking hate it, bro. I'm consistently 240 views with like 50 likes. I'm like, dude, this is a great ratio, bro, but they were not, like, the algorithm is just not picking me up, bro, and it's like, I'm about ready to fight the headquarters at TikTok. I'm about ready to go there and fight some people, dude.
You know what I think it is like, you're probably too young for this, but you remember the infomercials where the dude would be like all up in the fucking camera, like pushing whatever, like
the guy with the suit with all the looked like the Riddler, kind of. Is that?
There was like the guy too that I feel like he was on MTV. He'd be like, "You gotta get this." You remember that guy? Yeah. I looked him up on Wikipedia. Apparently, he killed himself too. It's super fucking dark. Okay. But I feel like that, like the camera style of like it right in the face. It's like I was like grown to like not trust that, because that used to be like an infomercial, like don't trust that person with the camera that close to their face. They're trying to sell you some bullshit. So yeah.
Oh man. Well, hey guys, I appreciate y'all.
We gonna end on that.
Oh yeah, you got something?
When's your next show, Evan?
Oh yeah.
We got a show here at the Racks this Thursday at 7 p.m. and it's gonna be our friend Rick Shaw's birthday show. He's gonna headline it for us. He's done comedy in Tulsa longer than me. He's super fucking funny. We're gonna have Thunderwolf, aka Chaz, on there. He's hilarious, and we're gonna have Uncle Gary and some other heavy hitters of the scene, and it's gonna be a party. My girlfriend's gonna bring cookies, and we're gonna have a cake and everything, I'm sure. Pizza, so we'll have pizza, we'll have beers, like, and the shows are free.
Yeah.
So like, it's not the kind of thing where it's like we're trying to like, you know, fucking rip anybody off. It's like, come have a fucking party and maybe buy some merch.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
You know, support local.
Support local, man. You guys heard it here first, man. You guys got anything else? Anybody have anything else they want to shout out? I know Shaun loves the shout out.
Way too
much. The shout outs, but I
know Shaun loves the shout out.
A question I've died to ask Evan.
Let's ask it.
Okay.
We talked about Mount Rushmore earlier.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of Tulsa. Who, like Mad Dog, Biker Fox?
Oh, yeah.
Who would yours be?
Stacy, Mama. Shit. I mean, there's so many people, dude. I mean, honestly, my list would be so fucking long.
Oh man, come on! You gotta have 4 Mount Rushmore.
You want me to have like a controversial
put
one?
Mad Dog on it.
Yeah.
Put Mad Dog on it. Yeah, I wasn't saying not Mad Dog.
Okay.
I'll take all yours. Yeah, and you.
So, like Mad Dog, Gary Busey, me, and
who else is like from Tulsa? Honestly, everybody, dude. Except the people I don't like, honestly.
Yeah. Who are those people?
We'll put you on. Name the 4 people on the bottom.
It is like 4.
On the bottom
it's
of
like
the
4.
Rushmore.
Yeah.
The asses of George Washington. All right, cool.
Oh, one last question too. Can you tell me a joke?
Oh man.
Do you hate that when people ask you that because you're a comedian? It's just kind of like you don't have to tell
me a comedian. Tell me a joke, bro.
Yeah, like I just feel like people like you say something like, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of funny," and they're like, "Tell me a joke."
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah.
I could. But,
do you hate that? Like, do people ask? Do you get that a question?
I don't hate it. No, I do it depending on like how I feel. Like I literally got that in a McDonald's drive-thru and I did it for him because I was like, fuck it, dude.
Yeah.
And he laughed and I was like, this is great.
Hell yeah.
Because he just saw I was wearing like the comedy festival t-shirt and I think I just had like a high energy that night or something. He was like, what's your shirt? He's like, who are you?
Yeah.
You know, I get that sometimes if my adrenaline's up high enough, I'm just.
What was the joke you told them? Come on. We're getting something out of you. Damn it. We paid to have you on this shit. You're going to tell a damn joke.
All right. One of my favorite jokes is, hold on, let me think. That was an awful intro. All right, well, this is like a one-liner.
Okay.
I want to be a marriage counselor that smokes crack. Your marriage is on the rocks, and so am I.
Okay.
It's a dumb one.
This is a good one though.
It's a good one.
I
It's short.
actually laughed. That wasn't like the fake good laugh. Like it wasn't a tear jerker. But it actually, I felt it in the belly.
Just don't make that one the clip. I gotta save these for the special.
All right, cool.
But it could be on the podcast.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's it for us today, guys. Man, we appreciate you guys rocking. Let us know how you felt about the pod in the comments today. Had a bad little stutter there. Don't call me. Oh, he's over there.
These glasses. I don't know. Ever since I started crying earlier, it like fogged up my glasses and the lights. Right, I think it's the ring lights.
Yeah, the lights. They definitely doing
these fucking lights in here, man.
Fucking lights.
I forgot my bubble, so had
you
to
did
do it that way. Yeah, I know. But
Just
anyway, guys, we are out of here, man. We appreciate y'all staying tuned.
Where's your double peace signs?
Oh, I'm about to throw it up in just 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all guys watching. Hey, until next time, we out, guys. There you go, man.
Throw it up like Richard Nixon.
Vote for me.